And to this webinar call from regional nodes to digital innovation hubs. I am Judith Anda, coordinator of thematic partnership of traceability and big data in agri-food value chain, led by Andalusia region. And first of all, I want to introduce to our today's speakers and also to thank them its availability. They are Ana Puig Centelles, Gabriel Risola, and Anita Kalpaka. Ana Puig is a program officer of DigiConnect, and Gabriel Risola and Anita Kalpaka are both working in Joint Research Center in Seville. This webinar is organized as part of the activities promoted by the thematic partnership of traceability and big data in agri-food value chain. Today, our main objective is to attend one of the challenges raised during the last meeting of the partnership, which was in Bilbao. This challenge was how the regional nodes should progress to digital innovation hubs and how the digital innovation hub can collaborate with this partnership in order to promote our common objectives of boosting the digital transformation. In parallel, the European Commission has been working on the approach and objectives of the digital innovation hubs regarding the future policies to be developed. Furthermore, the Joint Research Center is interested in creating synergies between IS3P and the digital innovation hubs. As you can see, we share a common and ambitious objectives. Okay, let's move to the agenda in this moment. Anna is going to start with 20 minutes presentation about what is digital innovation hubs, the European policies, the existing calls and digital innovation hubs importance in the future programming period in digital European program. We are going to continue with Gabriel and Anita, who is going to speak during 20 minutes about the digital innovation hub and smart specialization strategy. And finally, we will have a question and answer time. Please ensure your microphone is muted, and you can use the chat during the whole session, asking questions that will be answered in the last period of this meeting. This webinar is recorded in order to be used for dissemination proposals. We will share the session with those regions that cannot attend today, and also with other communication purposes. So thank you very much, all of you, and I give the floor to Anna. Thank you very much. I think, sorry, Anna, I think it's better. I know other participating in the session is you don't use the video, because the conference is the webinar is better if you don't use the video. Anna, you can use because you have the presentation. Okay, sorry. Anna, you can begin. Your microphone.
Now it's on.
Okay, now.
Okay. Okay, am I sharing the presentation with you? Are you able to see it?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you see it as presentation mode, in a presentation mode?
Yes. Yes, please.
Now, better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it's okay.
Okay, then I start. A moment. Do you want me to stop the camera? But maybe you see it better for connection. Okay, so first of all, thanks for giving us the opportunity to make this webinar in order to explain our latest development regarding digital innovation hubs in Horizon 2020 and the Digital Europe program. First of all, I would like to tell you that now this program is currently under negotiation with the Council and the Parliament. But I will explain you where we are. Okay, digital innovation hubs in Horizon 2020 had some calls, and I would like to share with you the ones that are already closed and the ones that we have still open. The work program was 2018-2020 with a focus area in digitizing and transforming European industry and services. The innovation actions and CSAs that we had, you had them here, Smart Anything Everywhere, the robotics for digital innovation hubs, I4MS, big data innovation hubs, coordinate and support activities for digital innovation hubs, and innovation on agriculture. The only one that is still open is the DTICT04 2020 for photonics innovation hubs. We have the deadline in the 22nd of April 2020. So you are still able to send your proposals. Okay, I already explained you the state of the play of Horizon 2020, but for all the other topics that I showed you in my previous slide, they are already selected and they are running and they are about to begin, which means that many opportunities for SMS are going to be opened in no time. So I just wanted to share with you some links from the ICT National Contact Points Network, the I4MS, the Smart Anything Everywhere initiative, and of course all the competitive calls and calls for third parties for SMS. You will be able to find them in the very last link. There the Commission will publish always all the open calls for the cascade funding on, for SMEs and therapies. Okay. Digital innovation hubs are continuing to will continue to be for the next MFF. The next multi-financial framework will be from 2021 to 2027. We aim to continue our Horizon 2020 with Horizon Europe. We will give support to SMEs and mid-caps to experiment with innovative digital technologies in a cross-border setting. So we want the continuation of our Horizon 2020 actions or initiatives like I4MS, SAE. Apart from the Horizon 2020 that will continue with Horizon Europe, we'll have the Digital Europe. That's the new thing. This will support to facilities and personnel focus on rollout of the latest digital innovations across SMEs and administrations. I will give you more information about this in my next slides. We will also have this Invest EU. This will be the incentives and risk reduction programs to help companies and fund follow-up investments to further complete their digital transformation. Here we are talking about loans and this financial instrument. And of course, the European Regional Development Funds, that this will go to local economies, local DIHs, and co-investment if possible for European DIHs. I will present you in a while what will be the European DIHs. But just to mention quickly here that the ERDFs, you will be able to use them to co-invest for the European Digital Innovation Hubs. This will come in a while. To start introducing the Digital Europe program, I would like to tell you what's the status right now. Now, the European Commission got a partial agreement with the Council and the Parliament. This means that we got an agreement within the content, but the budget is still not agreed. The European Commission proposes 9.2 billion euros, but this is still under discussion. We did a public consultation on strategic orientation for the first 2 years of the program, and this has already been closed, and the results have been analyzed. From there, we got a very positive feedback and very good tips that we will take into account. We also had discussion with stakeholders in the ICT Proposers Day last September, and more recently in the Stakeholder Forum in Madrid from last week. So with all this feedback, we are still working with member states in the document that I already left you already saw. I just let you here see the link about the European DIHs in Digital Europe program. You can see it in the link. Also important to mention the 5 focus areas that we have under Digital Europe program. The first one, very important, is going to be supercomputing. We want to work in hypercomputing, and very important to get SMEs and industry to let them have access to data. So we want to share, we want to network, but supercomputing is going to be one of the important areas for the Digital Europe program. Also artificial intelligence, because we want to make available algorithms to train programs, and this may help many SMEs and many industries to improve and to digitize and to go in the digitalization process. Also, the area of cybersecurity and trust, helping with security audits if needed, advanced digital skills, always talking about trainings about advanced digital skills, but all the time in short-term courses. And for sure, ensuring the wide use of digital technologies across the economy of society. Well, these are the focus areas of DEP program. And going through the DIHs in Digital Europe, I would like to give you an overview. The main aim for us is bringing the benefits of digital technologies to all our businesses and public sectors across the European Union. To achieve that, the European Union wants to support for 1 European DIH per region. What do we mean per region? We will allow all member states to define what's a region for them. We will allow the member states to have their own distribution. We still target 280 European DIHs, but every member state will decide on that. We will give one grant per European DIH, and we aim for a co-investment with the member states, regions, or private fundings. We aim for a 50% funding. This means 50% will go from member states, regions, or private, or the ERDF that I mentioned earlier. And the other half, the other 50%, will come from the European Commission. Something new in Digital Europe is that we will focus on SMEs, but we will also focus in the public services. This is still from the Horizon 2020. Because we realized that the public sector has also lack of digitalization. So there is still a lack of knowledge, and we think that we could also help in this digitalization process. We will focus on the technologies of HPC, AI, and cybersecurity. As I said before, also digital skills. And these will be the technologies to diffuse from the European Digital Innovation Hubs. We aim to have a strong European network of digital innovation hubs, and this will be our EU added value. Let me tell you a little bit about the European Digital Innovation Hub, which will be the Digital Innovation Hub in depth. So, European Digital Innovation Hubs will provide technological expertise and experimentation facilities to enable the digital transformation of the SMEs and the public sector. The services that a Digital Innovation Hub has to offer are going to be the test before invest, within their demonstration activities, within maturity assessments to the SMEs. They will allow testing, experimentation, or piloting to SMEs if they want to try something before buying or before investing. And they will help also with the knowledge and technology transfer. Another service will be to support these SMEs and public sector to find investment. They will help to access the banks. Sometimes banks, they have a lack of knowledge about the SMEs or the technology or the investment that this small industry wants to apply. But if we have this European DIH giving support and showing that the piloting and the testing has been a success, then the banks will invest in an easier manner. Another service is going to be skills and training. Again, as I mentioned before, focusing on advanced digital skills. These will be short-term training courses for SMEs that need to use this new technology or this new investment, this new pilot that has already been introduced. Then DIH can help to form, to train the people from the companies. And another important service is going to be the innovation ecosystem and networking. They may help access to value chain partners. They will help within the user needs and the providers, and they will put together and they will help on creating new value chains if needed. They will be in between the end users and the potential suppliers or of the technological solutions that they may need. Okay, usually in the core of the hub, we have an RTO, we have a research and technology organization, and we also have technical universities. Of course, they need collaboration. They need to be a consortium if needed, with industry associations, chambers of commerce, clusters, Enterprise Europe networks, accelerators, innovation agencies. The aim is that they create a hub or a consortium, and they can give as much services as possible to all the SMEs that are in the region. Okay, but in some regions, they do not have any hub, or they already have an existing hub. In both cases, hubs need to have a specialization. We want that the hubs, we want them to be based on existing strengths and addressing future needs of the local industry and the public sector organizations. I'm leaving you here an example of the technologies that we aim to address in depth, that are artificial intelligence, HPC, or cybersecurity. Of course, it can be within other technologies, simulation, supply chain integrations, remote sensing, photonics, robotics, cyber, all together. And they can apply to different areas, industry, precision, exoskeletons, and with different sectors. This does not mean that one single hub has to have all this specialization at the same time. No, this is just an example. They can have expertise in one of them or two, and to give this expertise as a service to the local SMEs that they have in the region. It may happen that sometimes a digital innovation hub they don't have the experience or the knowledge of a technology that someone in the region needs or aim to test. This way, this hub can contact to within another hub from another region, from another country, can go to this other European Digital Innovation Hub, can go there, can get that information, can be trained, and here's what we call to train the trainer. The hub can get the knowledge, can go back to the region, and can show this to the local industry or economy. I will show you this in the next slide. Here's a little bit to understand the network that we aim to get from all these 280 European digital innovation hubs, and what we want to achieve. European Union funding will bring European added value to local funded hubs, and this will trigger to local investments. We said that we wanted 1 grant per digital innovation hub, and this grant is expected to be from 3 to 7 years. The size of the networks I aim to be between 130 to 280 hubs. We still cannot say, because we still need the agreement of the budget that we are going to receive. But it's very important that you know that this time in depth, the funding should be used for capacity building of a hub. This means that this funding can cover investments in hardware, in software, and people that deliver services to stakeholders, travel costs, for cross-border purposes, as I mentioned before, for the trainer and bring the know-how to our local region. And the member state's contribution, that this is going to be to the 50% co-funding, I said member state or regional or EDF or private, can be also in kind or in cash. And the DEP grant will be signed on the condition that the member state contribution is already available. In this small picture, you can see the networking transfer of expertise from EDI to EDI. We can go to train the trainer to another region, to another state, to different competence centers, to different specialized places, and then we can get the knowledge to spread it among our SMEs, mid-caps, or our public administrations. Yes, here we were calling this if you read the paper that I mentioned you in the link before, we are talking about exporting and importing DIH excellence. We want to open up complementary competence and infrastructure to the whole Europe. We want to help SMEs with expertise and facilities that they do not have locally available. Okay, so I think I got everything I wanted to explain about this capacity building. That's new thing, new technology transfer in depth. And I'm almost finishing. I wanted to explain you what's going to be the selection process for the European DIHs in depth. The European Commission will launch an expression of interest directed to the member states. Then the member states will designate a list of entities that will fulfill the criteria that the Commission expressed and will get or already got a co-investment. It is mandatory that this is based on an open and competitive process. Then the Commission will have a decision on the initial network, and the European Commission will launch a restricted call only for the entities of this initial network. The designated entities will submit their proposals that are evaluated by the European Commission with the support of external experts, as we usually do with all our proposals. The European Commission selects taking utmost account of opinion of member states from those proposals exceeding the predefined quality thresholding balancing, which is the regional coverage, the technology coverage, and the sector coverage, with endorsement by member states committees. I mean, not all the designated hubs that come from the member state may pass the threshold. That's why the Commission will have to make a selection, and we will balance, that's important, the regional coverage, the technology, and the sector coverage. That's very important for us. Okay, in order to finish, I wanted to tell you what are going to be the next steps of the Commission. I'm sharing with you the last update of the document of European DIHs in Digital Europe program. This is a work in progress with member states still. So once we get the decision on the budget of the next MFF and the Digital Europe program, we will be able to have the exact numbers and to finish the document accordingly. We will start a communication campaign with member states. Then the regions, you will get from member states all that information. and the member states' designation of European DIAGs is expected to be done in August 2020. And we, the Commission, 1 month later, we will launch the restricted call to this list. This way, we may start in 2021 with the new financial instrument that we are explaining. Okay, so thank you very much, and please let me know any question that I could not explain sufficiently clear.
Questions now or at the end?
Thank you very much, Anna. And now is better than Gabriela and Anita can continue with the presentation. Finally, will be the questions. Anita, Gabriel?
Yes. Hello, everybody. I hope you can see. Let's see. Now, I hope you are able to
Yes,
see
we
our...
can see your screen.
Okay, great. Okay, so just a quick introduction before passing the floor to my colleague Anita. What Anna was explaining to us, it regards, let's say, the future plans for the development of digital innovation hubs, let's say in specific key technology areas like artificial intelligence, high performance computing, and cybersecurity. But we have, let's say, today we have around 300 validated digital innovation hubs in the catalog of the Commission, which are fully operational and are operating in a number of technology areas which go beyond. And this is to say that while there will be a set of hubs which will be funded by the new program, the others will continue existing and benefiting from the other funding sources that at a certain point Anna showed us, like Horizon 2020, which is focused on excellence, and it's promoting mostly the pan-European dimension. So it's, let's say, trying to create the links between the hubs through some devoted coordinating and supporting actions, CSAs, and also InvestEU, which is directly helping the beneficiaries, so the SMEs or the public sector in the new programming period. And importantly, the ERDF, so the regional dimension, the territorial dimension. And this is precisely where our works fits in, because we are looking at digital innovation hubs as a tool for territorial development. And from this perspective, we are analyzing and promoting the synergies between smart specialization strategies, which are, let's say, a tool of cohesion policy for promoting research and innovation in regions and from regions, so like locally driven. And from this perspective, we are performing analytical work. And on one side, we have recently run a survey across digital innovation hubs and managing authorities in charge of smart specialization in the regions. And I can tell you that there are, on one side, confirmed that there is a broad range of technologies covered. In this phase, most of the digital innovation hubs are, let's say, generalistic. They cover many different areas. Still, one predominant area is manufacturing, but in the second line we have healthcare, education, and agri-food, which is important, I think, for this audience. And this is connected with what Anna was mentioning about specialization. It's very important that increasingly the hubs specialize themselves in certain areas, and these areas of specialization should, let's say, go hand in hand with the needs of the SMEs in the local territories they are serving, and also with smart specialization strategies in those regions, because this is giving directions for this specialization. So say this, I will pass the floor to Anita, who will speak you about some case studies we have performed, trying to explore these synergies between these two different worlds, digital innovation hubs and smart specialization.
Okay, thank you very much, Gabriel. Hello, everyone. Good morning from my part. My name is Anita Kalpaka. I work in JRC and the S3 platform, and our mission is to provide evidence on current synergies between digital innovation hubs and regional national smart specialization strategies. As my colleague, next slide.
Yes. Just 1 second. I will move it. Okay.
Okay. I don't know if all of you are familiar with smart specialization. In case of some people not familiar, I will remind that smart specialization is a territorial approach to regional development that has been used for the first time in the current cohesion policy, helping regions to develop a strategic approach to innovation, to define priorities where public research and innovation money will be invested, and to build upon competitive advantages. One of the important key figures over this programming period is that 40 billion euro from ERDF has been allocated, and now we are towards the end of the programming period, so we can say that around 40 billion euro has been invested in research and innovation projects in all European, most European regions. Next. Okay. Digitalization as a priority in smart specialization strategies is very important, is very common. We can see it as an horizontal priority and also as a vertical priority, a sector that many regions want to invest more. But it is also very important in the regional collaboration partnerships that have been formed in the three thematic smart specialization platforms, which are industrial modernization, agri-food, and energy. And we are now in the process, as Judith said in the beginning, to define better what is the interaction between and what can be improved between the interaction between regional digital innovation hubs and interregional partnerships. That at this point we have 30 interregional partnerships working mostly in modernization of using digital technologies of different sectors of the economy. During the last 2 years, in our work in collaboration with DG Connect, we have developed the Digital Innovation Hub online catalog tool hosted under the S3 platform, and now hosting more than 300 fully operational digital innovation hubs from all over Europe, and serving as a yellow pages of this innovation of the different innovation ecosystems. We have produced the first round of case studies with early lessons from regions, and our latest work published this September was the European survey that my colleague Gabriel has mentioned earlier, and a comparative case study of 6 digital innovation hubs in regions in different socioeconomic contexts. And this is the I will mention in this webinar some important findings that we have find out during our investigation of these regional case studies, and you can see more details if you wish by visiting the publication themselves under the JRC site. The context of the study was to focus on this new policy concept, which was the digital innovation hubs, first defined during the digitization of European industry strategy in 2016 as a new tool, as a new policy instrument to help industry around Europe to digitize. And our aim was to explore digital innovation hubs from 6 EU regions to understand the modes of organization and implementation. This work was complementary to the survey and the online catalog, and we have performed interviews with all the selected regional authorities and digital innovation hubs managers, focusing especially on how the digital innovation hubs are set up, how they interact with the innovation, the regional innovation ecosystems and RIS3, how regions and the local businesses could benefit more by digital innovation hubs, and which funding sources they use and how they coordinate in regional, national or European level. The selected regions in digital innovation hubs are in Saxony, VDTC, in Wielposzka, Poland, HPC for Poland, Northern Ostrobothnia, Ulu Health, Tallinn, Estonia in national level because Estonia has no regions, Smartic, Andalusia Agrotech, and region of Central Macedonia, CERT. This is a very interesting table. I will not, of course, go through it, but if you wish, you can see the main dimensions considered in the study for each one of the 6 regional digital innovation hubs. As a general remark, we can say that digital innovation hubs appear to vary considerably, at least along 4 different dimensions, which are their organizational setup, their funding, their geographical scope and collaboration, digital maturity, focus for services. And I will mention a few important findings under each one of these different dimensions that we have considered. First one, how the hubs are organized. Well, it comes out that there is no one-size-fits-all as regards the organizational setup of the hubs. However, important identified factors that contribute to a successful fit-for-purpose digital innovation hub in a regional context are to be first well anchored in the regional innovation or digitalization policy setting. Second, to clearly identify and respond to industry needs, and third, to be well fitted and interrelated with the regional innovation ecosystems, including RIS3. A good example of such an organizational setup is the VDTC hub in Germany that was first created in 2001 to support modernization of the regional economy after German unification, and then evolved as a digital innovation hub to promote digitalization of SMEs, providing expert knowledge, demonstration centers, networks for exchange of experience, practical examples, and dissemination for digitalization opportunities and challenging of digitalization for SMEs. Then, as regards links with smart specialization strategies, it turns out that all digital innovation hubs from our study take part in RIS3 processes. They have contributed to the design of the smart specialization strategies during the current programming period, and they are now actively co-designing with regions the next programming period, the next smart specialization strategies. Almost all digital innovation hubs services are aligned with smart specialization defined priorities, and so that the projects that are doing with their SMEs could be funded under ERDF. Some have leadership in some priority area. For example, the Andalusian Digital Innovation Hub in Agrotech is leading in somehow the priority area of agri-food in Andalusia, trying to be the central node, bringing all the stakeholders around agri-food together to promote digitalization and modernization of the sector. The same is Andalusia, for example, is also an example of an outcome of a RIS3 process, meaning that it has been created within the smart specialization strategy, taking funding from ERDF in order to create this structure, this first a node and now evolving towards a digital innovation, a complete digital innovation hub, completely based on ERDF and on closely linked to smart specialization strategy and the first priority, which is agri-food in Andalusia. Funding for the hub. Funding has been defined as a challenging factor for most digital innovation hubs, but also for beneficiaries of hubs. This new concept that has evolved as a European Commission policy and the rebranding of some existing structures with this digital innovation hub new label seems that open new opportunities for funding for the digital innovation hubs. And these new opportunities for funding can also contribute to the fragmentation of complex systems, especially digital innovation hubs that are coordinated at regional level and get funding from ERDF, have a more comprehensive funding mechanism which comes from one source or two sources, ERDF and some other sources. And there are usually in most hubs there are multiple funding sources, and sometimes there is some struggle to meet many commitments coming out from these funding sources. Also, it's interesting that different sources are used for different purposes. For example, ERDF funds are used more for the digitization of more traditional industries, while Horizon 2020 projects and funding are used for applying and making research on new and more advanced cutting-edge digital technologies. As regards digital maturity, and this means digital maturity of the beneficiaries. The digital innovation hubs try to balance usually between SMEs that have more basic and general digitalization needs and other SMEs that have more cutting edge, that have needs for solutions of cutting-edge technologies. So there is a kind of battle between and trying to balance between leaders and laggards, between the general and the specific, between established firms and their digitization needs and the startups community with more advanced digitalization requirements. There are some hubs that try to meet both needs. Others decide to opt for one or the other dimension. An example of trying to balance both needs is the Smartic Robotics Hub in Estonia. Other examples that focus in niches and very cutting-edge technologies are Ulu Health and Surf Macedonia. Why South Macedonia is very much internationalized and has customers from international, from the US, from Europe, from Japan, that are using their services as well. Okay. And last but not least, I will say two words on the geographical scope and collaboration. Most digital innovation hubs have origins at the regional level, but during their time of operation, they have developed national and global links. As I mentioned, an example with very, very important and very much appreciated in the global in some global niche markets is CERT in Central Macedonia. All the hubs have the desire to develop external links, to attract expertise, and to engage regional actors in international projects. But sometimes there are challenges in funding these extra-regional, this expertise that is needed in the region, but comes from extra-regional sources. Language is another problem when other resources are used from different countries, but digital innovation hubs can act as intermediates for that. And also an important finding that we had as regards EU-wide collaboration was the expressed needs, for example, in Finland, to identify and to form networks of digital innovation hubs in EU-wide scale, which are focused on specific technologies like, for example, artificial intelligence, in order to take benefit of the EU-wide scale of this initiative. Well, this is it from me. I hope this it was interesting for you, and we are open to answer any question. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Anita. Thank you very much, Gabriel. Yes, we can continue with the questions and answers. My colleague Maria Jose is grouping this question, and she's going to do this in this moment.
Hello, everyone. I'm Maria speaking. We have for now 3 questions that Lydia asked. The first one was for Anna, sorry, and is, how about the DCICT 05 2020? Anna, we are going to turn on your microphone.
Yeah.
And you can answer, sorry.
Okay, can you listen to me? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yes, we can listen you.
Okay, yes. DTICT 05 2020, this is an innovation action that was closed 13th November 2019. That's why I did not include it as an open one in the second slide. Yeah, so it's closed.
Okay. Before to ask the following question, I remember you that you can write in the chat your questions or ask or turn on your microphone if you prefer to say to everybody. The next question is also for Anna. What does initial network means? I think this question was asked regarding the role of the digital innovation hubs in the DIP.
Well, I think the nation networks means to the selection process from European DIHs in depth, I guess. So yes, for the selection process, the initial network comes from the member states designate a list of entities, and we, the Commission, will make an initial network with these entities, and from there we will launch a restricted call for these entities. We are planning to help these proposers. We're trying to help them to achieve the interests that we have. I mean, we don't know how are we gonna do it yet, but for sure we're gonna have some coordination and support actions that will help on that process. We are also thinking on other possibilities. To get to help them, because at the very end we want to fund the best ones, but we want you to be able to do it right. So yeah, we will inform you for sure in the communication campaign. Yeah.
Perfect, Anna. Lydia asks also, when will this happen?
Yeah, if you go to the last slide of my presentation, we want to do a communication campaign with member states. We usually go from the Commission to the member states directly. No, we do not reach all regions, but that's why we have the member states to help you. Once we get the acceptance of the budget proposed by the European Commission, which is 9.2 billion euros, once we get the acceptance from the Parliament and the Council, we will start doing this communication campaign. And we expect that the Member States designation for the European DIHs is going to be August 2020. This way, the Commission will be able to launch their restricted call to this list in September 2020. So I guess, I mean, we need to know first about this budget. We hopefully will have it this end of the year, beginning next year. Better, I would say, maybe. Yeah. We're balancing different dates.
Okay, thank you, Anna. The next question was done by Ioannis Spandos. Give us some ideas on tools and services regarding the digital innovation hubs and the public sector. I think that is an open question, so Gabriel, Anna, Anita.
What we can tell from our side is that in the report on the European survey, we have addressed, let's say, the needs of the public sector and how, let's say, poorly their needs are covered right now. So maybe from there some ideas can be taken out. But I'm looking at it quickly. Let's see. I don't have it. The digitalization of the public sector, for example, we identified the most demanded aspect is higher education and research and education, also in healthcare and elderly care, in open government and data, in tourism, which by the way is also an area of specialization highlighted in many regional smart specialization strategies by regions across Europe, in public transport and road infrastructure, etc. So I recommend you to look at this report, which is available, as Anita said, in the EU Science Hub repository. And it's called Putting Digital Innovation Hubs into Regional Context, a European Survey.
And also, I would like to add something, as Digital Innovation Hubs is an initiative that started within the Digitizing European Industry strategy, is more focused, most Digital Innovation Hubs now are focused mainly in industry. But in order to be successful and to comply with all the requirements for European Digital Innovation Hubs, etc., they will have to promote also their services to the public sector as well. So I think that in the future we will see more in the public sector, more services offered to the public sector than it is right now.
Can I also add something? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking on helping public administration to improve their cybersecurity, for example, or assist public authorities to fully use the potential of procuring innovation, or to bring them in contact with companies that are ready to supply the necessary digital technology solutions. So sometimes it's just the aim of the EDI is to put in contact the technology providers to the needs of this public sector. And yes, just to mention that not all European DIHs will need to support the public sector. But yeah, that needs to be reasonable. That's the only...
From our knowledge from the catalog today, there is around a quarter, or so 25% of the digital innovation hubs fully operational, who are already providing some kind of support to public administrations.
Okay, we can continue with a doubt that has Adrienne Gentil. She said, I understand that the states will have to design one digital innovation hub per region and by region. It is to the state to define what they mean. She doesn't understand what you mean, so if you can clarify.
Sorry, is this for me?
Yes, Anna, it's for you.
Yeah, I lost you. Can you repeat me, please?
Yes, it's. She said, I understand that states will have to design one digital innovation hub per region and by region. It is to the state to define what they mean?
Okay. Yes, initially, the Commission aimed to give one grant per region. And initially, the Commission defined a region as a NUTS 2 region. But in some countries, it makes no sense, because some countries are different in size and at regional level. So the member states proposed that they wanted to be the ones on defining what a region was for them. So sometimes a member state can decide to do a macro region if needed, or to put together two original hubs to make an EDI. I mean, it's up to the member state to design or to define what's a region for them. And a region means an EDI that the European Commission will fund within the member states. I don't know if I clarified you enough, or I can try again.
Okay, perfect. We can follow with the next question. It's Alex Colonques from Spytech. He said, in our case, we told to our companies that we are a digital innovation hub, and in some cases, they are interested in participate in the programs. They asked us how to do it. Can we know the exact process to ask for a call? He means which are the steps to ask for a call?
Yeah. Well, I can try, or then regionally, maybe Anita or Gabriel can help you. But if you go to slide, for example, 3, at the very end, I pasted a place where the Commission launches all the competitive calls and calls for third parties and the cascade funding from all the projects that we are having right now according to the Horizon 2020. So there are open calls strictly for the SMEs, and this is what we call the cascade funding. I mean, there are projects, we fund the project, and the project funds these new calls inside their projects that go directly to the SMEs. That's Horizon 2020, and this will become Horizon Europe. But something different is Digital Europe program that will come with the European Digital Innovation Hubs. In Horizon Europe, we aim to fund directly with this cascade funding the SMEs. In the European Digital Innovation Hubs, we aim to fund the hub for their capacity building. And when we were saying that the region is defined by the member state, it's because sometimes different member states understand differently what's a region. And in some cases, maybe Gabriel can help me here, they form a consortium among different small regions, and they create a new, bigger macro region that can have only a European Digital Innovation Hub in there. But this depends on the member states, because at the end it's the one that's co-funding or not, because sometimes you can also go to regional funding or private, but this is just an example. Gabriel or Anita, would you mind explaining here something?
Well, no, I think it's covered, unless Alejandro wants to refine the question. I think it's done.
Thank you very much. I think that I know the process now. Okay, with the explanation. Thank you.
Okay, so it seems there is not additional questions. So I give the floor to Judith again, and thank you all for your participation.
Yes, well, we have finished. We get to the end of this webinar. We thank you all for attending and for your question, especially to the speakers for their time and their effort. I think that it has been a very interesting webinar, and I hope that it has helped all of you to better understand the digital innovation hubs and the new programming period, also the interactions between digital innovation hubs and thematic partnerships. So thank you very much again, and bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Judith.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Thanks a lot.